Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to DJ TLM TV. I'm DJ TLM, and in this special Serato Scratch Live series, I'll show you everything you need to know about my favorite digital vinyl system, Serato Scratch Live. If you missed out on the first video, you can click the video link right there to check the introduction video. In today's video, I'll show you how to connect all the equipment, and I'll take you through the hardware options. Alright guys, time to connect everything so we can get busy with Serato Scratch Live. I have my DJ set right here, 2 turntables and a mixer. If you're using CD players, the story is the same. There's a couple of things we're going to need. First of all, your Serato box, audio interface, sound card, whatever you want to call it. I'm using my SL1. You'll need 2 RCA cables and a USB cable. And of course, a computer or your laptop. I have my MacBook right here. So let's break it down. We want the signal from our control vinyl to make it from the turntables all the way to the computer so that the Serato Scratch Live software receives the signal. In order to do that, we have to connect the turntables to the Serato box. Now, right here we have the input section, and you have inputs 1 and 2, RCA inputs. And we need to connect turntable 1 and 2. If you don't know which turntable is 1 and which one is 2, your left one is number 1, your right one is number 2. So I have my RCA cables from my turntables right here. This is from turntable 1, so I connect that to input number 1. Now as you can see, the inputs and the outputs are colored, red and white. And your cable should be marked so it's real easy to see where you have to plug it in. Alright, that's it. The turntables are connected. The signal can now make its way to the box. Now in order to reach the software, we have to connect the box to the computer. We take our USB cable, connect it to the computer. On the input side of the box, we have the USB port, and when I connect the cable and plug it in, this light turns on, and this means that the box is now powered by the computer. You can get an optional power supply, but it's not necessary because you can get power from the computer. So the signal is now reaching the computer, and I'm able to control the songs in the software right now. But I'm still not able to DJ because there's one essential thing missing, and that's sound. The sound from the songs needs to come from the computer back to this mixer right here in order for me to DJ. Now, on this side of the box, we have the output section, outputs 1 and 2, and this can get the sound from the computer to go anywhere I want it to go. And I want to connect it to my mixer. Now, 1 and 2, you have 2 options. You have through and line, and I'll get into through in a minute. For now, all you need to know, if you're using Serato Scratch Live, you use your line outputs. So I take my RCA cables. Now these aren't marked on the outside but on the inside, but they do have the color markings. So again, it's real easy to see where I need to connect these. Now I'll place the box to the side for a minute. Now, don't do this at home. I just place it on my vinyl. Now these are my worn down copies, so I never take these to any gig, but don't do it. It might ruin the vinyl. Let me lift up the mixer. Now I'm using the DJM 909 right here from Pioneer. You might be using a completely different mixer, so the back of your mixer will not look the same. But all you need to know is that you're looking for the inputs for both channels, and most of the time the inputs are right below all your channel knobs, and you're looking for the RCA inputs. Normally, if you're connecting a turntable to your mixer, you connect it to the phono input, but we're not coming from the turntable, we're coming digitally from the computer through the box, and we're using line outputs, so we need the line inputs on the mixer. Now, I take my RCA cable. This came from output 1, and I'll plug that into input 1 on the mixer. This is from output 2 on the box. And we put that in output 2 on the mixer. And that's that. Now, of course, since this is a tutorial video, I'm taking my time to explain, but as you could tell, it doesn't take a lot of steps to connect your Serato Scratch Live hardware to make the software work. I've heard this complaint from DJs that they rather use like the CD players with CDs instead of using Serato Scratch Live because they didn't like all the trouble it took to set up their system. Well, it's not that much trouble. You need to connect 2 cables from your players to the box and 2 cables from the box to your mixer. And then you connect the box to your computer. How hard is it? Well, not hard at all. I'm connected, so I'm now able to control the music in the computer, and we're able to hear it, so now I can DJ. One more thing I wanted to add. Earlier, I showed you on the output section that you have a through and a line output, and that you use the line outputs for Serato Scratch Live. Now, the through output is very handy if you're thinking about incorporating real vinyl into your Serato Scratch Live set. In all honesty, I don't see it happening. Once you start playing with Serato Scratch Live, the odds of you bringing real vinyl too are very slim. You're more likely to just convert your vinyl, make it a digital file, and bring it on your laptop. There is a different scenario, and that is that you're using Serato Scratch Live, but you're playing with a DJ who uses real vinyl. Now, if we just had the box, this would mean that every time that you're finished with Serato Scratch Live, you would have to disconnect the turntables from the box, plug them into the phono inputs on the mixer in order for the DJ with real vinyl to play. Now, if he's playing after you and you're going home, that's all good. But if you want to play like back and forth, do 20 minutes a piece, that would mean that every time you would have to plug the turntables into the mixer, back into your box, back in the mixer. Now, that would be a hassle. So to make it easier, you just take RCA cables. I'll just show you with one turntable right now. Plug the RCA cable into the through output. And on the mixer, you just plug that in to your phono input. Now, right now I have my Serato sound. Now if I switch to real vinyl, and I turn this channel from line to phono, I have my vinyl sound. This makes it real easy to switch between DJs. I can go back to Serato. Watch what happens when I don't turn back the line. That's the control tone. If I switch back the line, so that makes it a lot easier to switch between DJs going from Serato to real vinyl and back. So that's the through option. As you can see, it's real easy to connect your equipment and get started with Serato Scratch Live. Of course, like I said, it's a tutorial, so I took my time, but in real life, if you're doing this, it'll only take a minute or two. Now, you have a couple of different options when it comes to your hardware. I'm using the first version, the SL1, and Rain does not manufacture that first version anymore, but you can still get it online, and there's a lot of secondhand SL1s out there. I still use it because it gets the job done. So if you're on a budget, but you want to get started with Serato Scratch Live, look for a secondhand SL1. You're good to go. Now, Rain has enhanced and expanded their line of audio interfaces, and they have the SL2, which replaced the SL1. They have a SL3 and SL4. I'm not going to get into all the specifications, but just a couple of differences. First of all the newer models have better audio, better sound than the SL1. I'm not complaining about the SL1, but the SL2, 3, and 4 have better audio quality. SL1 is 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit, and the newer models are 48 kilohertz, 24-bit, and the SL4 is even 96 kilohertz. So better audio. I don't know if the crowd in the club is going to hear that difference, but I prefer better audio. That's why I will update to a newer model. But when it comes to the whole DJing part, the SL1 gets the job done. The SL2 is basically the same as the SL1, but it's a lot smaller, more compact, so it's easier to carry. And like I showed you with the output options, the through and the line output, on all the newer models, so also on the SL2, the through outputs are gone. You just have input and output, and if someone is using real vinyl, you just have to click on the option in the software to switch from Serato to real vinyl. So the newer models are even easier to connect because it takes less cables. So the SL2 is a compact version with 2 channels in, 2 channels out. The SL3 has 3 channels. Now 3 in and 3 out means that you could connect an extra turntable or extra CD player. If you're not into 3 players, it's not that interesting. You could use the extra in and output for other things like a dedicated input to record your mix and a dedicated output for the sample player that is in the software. So that's why it could be an option for you. Then you have the SL4, and like the name suggests, it has 4 channels in and out, which means that you could connect 4 players. The big difference is it also has 2 USB ports, which means that it's basically 2 audio interfaces in one box. 2 DJs could connect to that one box and both have 2 decks of Serato working. I don't know, that's not a real option for me. If you're always DJing together with another DJ and you do your live sets together, this might be an option because you can both plug in at the same time with one box and have everything working. It could be an option for a club, if you're a club owner, to have one in the club, and if one DJ is playing and the next is coming in, they don't have to switch any cables. The next DJ can just come in, plug in his USB cable, and get busy with Serato on 2 other decks. So 4 decks. That's the biggest differences between the 2, the 3, and the 4. 2 channels, 3 channels, 4 channels. And you could take that into consideration when you're figuring out what you want to do. If extra decks are not an option for you, you don't need it. Get an SL1 secondhand or get an SL2 new. All depending on your budget, of course. If you're starting out, you don't want to spend too much money, please go get a secondhand SL1. It'll get the job done. You're good to go. Rane also manufactures a line of mixers with the Serato interface built in. This means that you don't have to have your box next to your set. The box is inside your mixer. So you can just take your 2 turntables, plug them into your mixer, connect the mixer to the computer through a USB cable, and you're good to go. Big downside could be that it means that you have to bring your mixer when you're going somewhere, and a mixer is a lot bigger and heavier than a Serato box. So if you don't mind carrying your mixers, and Rane has great scratch mixers, that's an option. It is of course more expensive because you're buying a mixer and an audio interface. Rane has a couple of different scratch mixers. They have their first version, like the SL1 is the first version of the interface. They have the TTM 57, which is their first version of the mixer with the built-in Serato. Cool thing about the mixers is that they also have MIDI functionality built in. This means that they have dedicated buttons on the mixer which can control and trigger certain functions in your software. You could trigger your cue points from your mixer, that's what it means, or trigger samples or start loops. So that's a cool thing. The 57 is the first version, but they've updated it with 2 new versions, the Rane 61 and the Rane 62. These are newer versions. They have better audio and a little better functionality. If you want to compare all the differences between these mixers or these interfaces, just go to Serato.com. Rane also has a 4-channel club mixer, the Rane 68. Like I said, it has 4 channels, so you can control 4 decks, and it has the same functionality as you can expect from most professional club mixers. It's also real expensive. I love their products, but if you on a budget, please just think about a SL1 or maybe a secondhand 57. All the other stuff is maybe a little bit better, not much better, but it's way more expensive. So please, please, please don't spend too much money, especially if you're just starting out. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section down below. Join the conversation, click like if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, download our free DJTLM TV browser extension for Chrome and Firefox. Check djtlmtv.com for more videos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.